All right, this is Patrick O'Hearn. He's an avid Ole Miss sports fan. Patrick, what do you describe what you look for in Ole Miss sports coverage in newspapers and online and stuff?
Well, I think I look for I like the variety of sports. I don't like just one sports coverage. I like seeing baseball, I like seeing football, basketball, everything. I think it's interesting to see sports after football. I mean, obviously that's one of the major sports we all like here, but I like seeing the baseball coverage and everything. I like the Twitter keeps me up to date on a lot of happening stuff around Ole Miss, and the newspaper usually has good coverage before game weekends. It has good coverage the day after, and I think it's pretty good coverage.
So, what does the newspaper provide that, in terms of Ole Miss sports coverage, that a subscription website may not?
I think that the newspaper, I pick it up every morning before I go to class, so it's kind of just something I can read while I sit there, and I can hold it in my hands, I can read it. I don't have to be looking on my screen about it. It's big print, it's easy to read. I like the just holding it in my hands and just being able to look at it.
What about subscription websites? What do they provide that a newspaper won't?
They obviously provide mobile, so I can look at it on my iPhone, but again, that's a smaller screen. But they offer that. They can update often. Newspapers can only print once a day, so they update often. So they both have their drawbacks,
As football season ends and basketball begins, does that affect how you follow Ole Miss sports?
no, that doesn't affect it at all. I love Ole Miss sports. Obviously we like football, but I enjoy basketball. I used to play basketball, so I have interest in that. When baseball's coming up in a while, so I have interest in pretty much all the sports here.
Do you follow like football recruiting or anything that some of the newspapers and websites might provide?
I follow a little bit of recruiting, not very deeply. I look at the news once in a while. I see who's committed, who's decommitted, who's going to commit to Ole Miss, and just kind of keep up with the recruiting class, but not that much.
What do you think about like the Ole Miss fan base? How would you describe it?
I think we have a real good fan base here at Ole Miss. Everybody is very avid about football here. Obviously, we have the Grove. Everybody's just excited about games. And I think the student section at the games is really good. I'm sure it gets the players excited. So I think we have a pretty good fan base here.
What do you think about like the newspapers and websites having to like cover a smaller fan base, like in terms of compared to other SEC schools like Alabama and Florida and LSU and stuff? How does that make their job a little bit more difficult?
It might make their job a little bit more difficult just because, obviously we have people all over the country that like us too, but it's not like in Alabama. Not everybody knows our name. It'd be great if they did, but they have to cater more to alums and people that have had some connection with Ole Miss. So it does make their job a little bit tougher, but I think they can overcome that. People still want to hear about what's going on in football. It doesn't really matter who you are.
And how do you see the future of both of these websites and newspapers going forward?
Well, obviously we're getting a lot more tech savvy these days. Everybody has iPhones and their iPads. So I think it's going to start going a lot more towards mobile subscriptions to newspapers, which I don't know. I don't really want to see that much. I don't have an iPad, but I like having the newspaper, being able to get it every morning, read it, have something physically in your hands. I'm not just reading off a little screen on your iPhone or your iPad, just actually having a physical newspaper to read out of.